Alright, so today we will be discussing the all-new redesigned 2025 Nissan Kicks. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Nissan Kicks is, it is Nissan's smallest and cheapest crossover that actually got a redesign for 2025 model year. Now, there are 6 different trim levels of this Nissan Kicks. The S with front-wheel drive, the S with all-wheel drive, the SV with front-wheel drive, the SV with all-wheel drive, the SR with front-wheel drive, and the SR with all-wheel drive. Now, between whether you want front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, I personally think if you're driving this car in primarily good weather, I think front-wheel drive is the way to go. But if you're driving this car in primarily bad weather, I think all-wheel drive is the way to go. But regardless, you can't go wrong with any. Now, as far as trim levels go, I will discuss what each of these trim levels include between the S, the SV, and the SR. So, and honestly, you can't go wrong with any version of the new Nissan Kicks. Like, normally I say in other videos that I've done of other cars, I say that to buy or not buy a certain trim level. With the Nissan Kicks, this 2025 Nissan Kicks, no matter which trim level you pick, I can assure you that you're going to be very satisfied and you made a right choice. Because I do think this is an amazing car, honestly. Like, I'm just going to pull up the base S real quick. Because even, like, the exterior and stuff, in my opinion, it is a good-looking car. And even for the price point of the Nissan Kicks, I think it has a good interior. Now, obviously, the more money you spend to get a better trim, the better it's going to get. But even if you get the base S, given the price point, you are getting a good exterior and a good interior, in my opinion. So I'll go through that. Now, as far as specs go, this car comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which makes 141 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque. It gets 28 miles per gallon in the city and 35 on the highway, which is pretty good. And, of course, this car takes regular fuel, which is expected for something like this. And, yeah, so I see it's fuel efficient, and it makes about 141 horsepower, 140 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for a small car like this, it's enough. And as far as transmission goes, it has a CVT transmission, which is pretty much an automatic transmission, but there aren't any gears. So what the Kicks does instead, the transmission, it simulates the gears, so it pretty much is an automatic transmission, just without tangible gears. Now, 0 to 60 time on this Kicks will be about 9.5 seconds, which I know it sounds slow, but reality is when you're driving, it should be enough power to keep up with traffic, at least for most people. So, yeah, I really do like this car for the price, and as you can see here, this is the older version of the Kicks, the 2024, which I also think is a good vehicle, and I imagine there are great deals on these right now as the 2025 has just came out. Obviously, the 2025 is going to be better than the 2024, and in my opinion, it's a pretty drastic difference, actually. I just think the 2025 is a lot better, which is expected. It's the newer vehicle. It's redesigned. So yeah, that's good. And as far as trim levels go, for the 2025 Kicks, as I explained, there's the S, the SV, and the SR. So I'm going to start with the S, which, I mean, it's a basic car. There's really nothing much to say about it. It's a basic car. It's the type of car you get if you just want to go from point A to point B. But I do think for the low $20,000 range, it's a good car, which I should actually talk about pricing first, which is, well, for the Kicks S 2025, the front-wheel drive version will start at $21,830. Wait, let me change some filters around to make this easier. But pretty much for the 2025... Okay, this isn't working out. I have to apply the filter. Alright, so pretty much... Wait, why isn't this working out? It's still showing the 2024. Actually, forget it. I'm just going to go. But for the 2025 Kicks, the S, which is the cheapest version, the front-wheel drive starts at $21,830. The all-wheel drive starts at $23,330. Now, for the SV, which is like the mid-level trim, the front-wheel drive starts at $23,680. The all-wheel drive starts at $25,330. And for the SR, which is the most expensive trim, the front-wheel drive starts at $26,180, and the all-wheel drive starts at $27,680, which for a new car, that's obviously not a lot of money compared to other new cars. And yeah, for the price, I just think between the exterior and the interior, it's a really good vehicle. And honestly, I know a lot of people say that Nissans have problems and stuff, but the reality is most of those problems happen after 100,000 miles. So if you buy one of these new or slightly used and you sell it before 100,000 miles, it should be a reliable car. And 100,000 miles is a lot of miles for a car. That's like 7 to 9 years of driving for the average American. So that's pretty good, which, I mean, if you can buy this car today and still be driving it 7 to 9 years from now and either have had no problems or not many problems, I think that's a pretty good position to be in. And then at that point, just sell it for another car, as it'll be almost 10 years old. And to be honest, most of these modern cars are really not going to be that good after 100,000 miles, just because of how complicated everything has gotten in these cars and how much there is to fail. So yeah, this is the cheapest one. This is the S, and pretty much it's just like any basic car. The Kicks S is the type of car you buy if you just want a car to get from point A to point B and don't care about anything else, or you just want something that's basic, then the Kicks S is for you. Now the Kicks SV is the next trim. This is the medium trim, which this is going to be for someone who I guess still wants something that's affordable and can last them a good amount of time without costing them much money, but they want something that's a little bit nicer than the S, which is the cheapest based one. So as you can see, the SV has nicer rims than the S, and even on the interior, it has a larger infotainment screen on the S, and the SV is going to be the cheapest version with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you value those features, I personally don't, but if you value those features, you're not going to want a Kicks below the SV. You're going to want to either get the SV or the SR for the Kicks. Now, for the SV, there's actually a $1,500 premium package, which includes heated mirrors, roof rails, panoramic roof, which I think is pretty neat. I like that. Heated front seats, remote engine start, another feature I don't care for, but it could be nice to have for some. Sun visors with vanity mirrors. Again, something I wouldn't mind not having, but it's good to have. I see sun visors I want, and every new car has them, but I don't care for the vanity mirrors that much. Then you have sunglasses storage and front passenger seat back pocket, which sunglasses storage, I'm just laughing right now because I'm pretty sure most new BMWs, if not every new BMW, lacks a sunglasses holder. And those cars are a lot more expensive than a Nissan Kicks, so I'm finding it funny that Nissan Kicks have sunglasses storage and BMWs don't. So that just made me crack up just now. But anyways, back to the Nissan Kicks. You can decide whether the premium package on the SV is worth it or not for you. For you, that's obviously subjective, which I didn't check for the S. But let's see if there's any. Oh yeah, there's no packages, so never mind that. But yeah, but for the SV, you can decide whether the premium package is worth the money to you or not. Next up is the highest trim level, which is the SR, which the SR is probably going to be for the person who just wants the highest version of Nissan Kicks. They want the one that I guess looks the sportiest, has the most features. So that's what the SR is. And even with the SR, you have a premium package, which includes most of what the SV premium package goes. I mean, there's some of the differences between the SV premium package and the SR premium package. But that's also why the SV with the premium package on the SV is $1,500 and the premium package on the SR is $2,000. So I mean, heated mirrors, heated seats, panoramic roof, remote start. Those are stuff that the SV premium package has. But the stuff that on the Kicks you can only get on the SR with the premium package that you can't get on a SV or a S will be heated steering wheel, which I don't care for. Some people like it, so it's there if you want it. And an upgraded Bose sound system along with rain sensing windshield wipers, which what rain sensing windshield wipers do is they change the speed of the windshield wipers depending on how much rain there is, which honestly it's a neat feature, but I could do without it personally. Same deal with the heated steering wheel. One thing I do like about the SR compared to the other trims though, if you get it with the premium package, is the Bose audio system. I like that just because it just makes the music sound better. Not saying the sound systems in the lower trims are completely trash, but if you do love music and you are an audiophile and you are looking to get a Nissan Kicks, definitely get the SR with the premium package so you could take advantage of the Bose sound system, as it will be a better sound system than what the lower trims of the Nissan Kicks have. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the trim levels. I mean, and one thing that's interesting is the SR is actually the only trim level to have a 360-degree camera, which, again, not something I care for personally, but if you don't want to put any effort into parking your car, I guess you could just look at the 360-degree camera and have a easier time parking your car. So some people value it. I personally don't care for it. So yeah, that's the SR. But one thing about that I forgot to talk about is about interior upholstery, which is the base S and the SV are going to come with full cloth seats, but the SR obviously being a little bit more luxurious compared to the other trim levels. Instead of getting full cloth seats, you actually get leatherette seats with cloth inserts, which means part of the seat is leatherette, which is synthetic leather, and part of the seat is cloth, so that just will obviously make the SR feel more premium compared to the other trims. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the Nissan Kicks. I really like this vehicle, and this is just my take, but if I was looking for a affordable vehicle and I didn't want to spend much money on it, and I wanted something brand new, didn't want to deal with the used car, I would personally get a Nissan Kicks. I think it's a great vehicle. they can last a good amount of time without much problems. And I think it looks good inside out. Now, as far as I would spec this car personally, the one I would pick, I would get a SV just because I think for me it's the best blend of the S and the SR. Like, for me, I think the SR has a lot of stuff that I don't really care for in a car like this. So I wouldn't really bother to spend the extra for the SR. But at the same time, the S is a little basic for my liking. So I would want something probably better than the S if I was to get a Kicks personally. So I would get a SV, and I would get one with all-wheel drive so I could take the car to places where the weather is not good and not have to worry. So let me build one right now. It's loading, and obviously interior would be black cloth, and exterior-wise, and here are the colors. There's actually a lot of colors to pick from, but my personal favorite color is called Canyon Bronze Metallic. And honestly, I know Canyon Bronze Metallic as a color isn't for everyone, but I personally really like the way it looks on the new Kicks. So if I was to get one of these Nissan Kicks, I would get a SV with all-wheel drive, and I would get it with the premium package, as the premium package for $1,500 does have a few features I like, which is mainly the heated front seats. I like that. The panoramic moon roof, I also like that. And I think the silver roof wheels, which you can kind of see them, whereas they're not there on the Kicks without the premium package. But I think the silver roof rails also make the car look even better. So if I was to personally get a Kicks, this is how I would spec it. So, okay, I did get the gas mileage a little wrong from earlier. It's actually 27 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway, and 30 combined. Not 28 in the city, 35 on the highway, and 31 combined, which either way is still good gas mileage. But anyways, back to how I would spec this car personally, which this is what I would get if I was to spec a new Nissan Kicks personally. I would get the Canyon Bronze exterior. I just love the way it looks. I would get a SV. It's obviously more enhanced than the S, but I'm also not paying for the stuff in the SR that I truthfully don't care for personally, which if you care for that stuff, the SR is great. Or if you want to save money, the S is also great. But for me, I think the SV is just the one to get. And I would get the premium package, as I explained already, and I would get it with all-wheel drive so I could take the car in places where the weather isn't good and not have to worry. But even the front-wheel drive version of the Kicks is great, don't get me wrong. So yeah, total MSRP comes out to $28,220, which the breakdown is a Kicks SV with all-wheel drive starts at $25,330. Then the premium package I added costs $1,500. And there's a $1,390 shipping and handling fee with the new Nissan Kicks, regardless of how you spec it, which comes to a total MSRP of $28,220. And for that price, I think this is a great car. The one thing I wish Nissan did differently, however, is I do wish with the new Nissan Kicks, I wish Nissan offered them with the manual transmission. I think a lot of enthusiasts who prefer to shift their own gears would appreciate that. And honestly, if this Nissan Kicks had an optional manual transmission, I would truthfully buy one as my first car. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that most of the world, or at least most of America doesn't, or just most of North America in general, doesn't really drive manual transmission anymore, and they're right. But I wish Nissan would just make a manual transmission an option for the new Nissan Kicks. Maybe even if it's special order only, I wish it was an option just so the enthusiasts could have their fun shifting their own gears. And as I said, if Nissan made this Kicks with the manual transmission, I would truthfully buy one as my first car. So yeah, that's pretty much the new Nissan Kicks 2025. And for the millionth time, I like this car a lot. I highly recommend it. If you want a new car that's a crossover and you're not looking to spend a lot of money, I think it's just a great choice. And that's about it. So that's going to wrap it up for today. And I will see you in the next video. Which, speaking of future videos, now that school has started and I'm getting busy, expect most of my videos to come out towards the end of the week. Just because earlier on in the week, I'm busy with school and stuff. So, with that in mind, I will see you in the next video.